Going live and you're live. What's up, everyone? Aaron Nagler here, Cheesehead TV, coming to you live from the LiveX studios in Midtown Manhattan with your somewhat daily dose of extra cheese. Hope everyone's had a good week. Zadarius Smith not having the greatest week because he was once again overlooked, bamboozled, completely robbed, not making first team All Pro. You know, actually, in comparison to the other guys, barely garnered any votes. It's fine. It's okay. He doesn't need it. He doesn't need your stupid awards and recognition. He's going to be busy winning playoff games and marching to the Super Bowl. So it's fine. It's all good. I'm not bitter about it at all. Maybe a little bit. Hello from Copenhagen. What's up? Thanks so much for joining us. Hello from New York. Hope you're doing well. Hope the other side of the world is treating you with a plum. But let me tell you something. Uh, I got a craving right now for some playoff football. And, when you talk about cravings, sometimes you're craving delicious deals. And you can sign up for Festival Foods emails, and you'll have a weekly ad and more delivered to your inbox each week. By signing up for their emails, you'll be the first to know about new products and sale items. And if you're looking for ideas for your next meal, you'll also get the latest food trends, recipes, and meal planning tips and tricks. What are you waiting for? Subscribe to the Festival Foods emails today at festfoods.com/email. That's festfoods.com/email. Hello from an elevator in Glendale. An elevator in Glendale? I hope you make it out of there okay. Meister Bear, what's up? Hey, Nags. Hey, how are you? I hope you're doing well. Um, as we talked about on transplants last night, it'll be interesting to see what the Packers have in store for Raven Green. Not a ton of buzz around his return, other than the fact that he is practicing, and it'll be interesting to see how they insert him into the defense. Yo, Nagler, what's up? How you doing? Are we going to develop Sternberger or go after a tight end via free agency or the draft? Kev, I would be very surprised if they added a tight end in free agency. Maybe they draft one at some point next year. I do think Sternberger is in their future plans. I do believe they will move on from Jimmy Graham this offseason. But I do expect Sternberger to take a pretty significant jump from year one to year two. We'll see. Go Pack Go. What's up? Vikings uh, plus 7.5. How are you betting that line? Oh boy, on the Saints to cover, probably. I mean, they've been a machine at home. They've been putting up 30 points every week, regardless of who's across the way. So that's what I think. Bubba Franks, bring him back. There you go. Hey, Nag, shouldn't we be used to the snubs by now? Yeah, it's a fair point on Culture Barbarian. It's kind of the way of the world when it comes to the Packers, and especially on the defensive side of the ball. I think people are just not used to a great defensive performance and/or player residing in Green Bay, because that's what Za'Darius is. I don't know if he's the best defensive player in football right now, but he is one of them, and should absolutely be in the conversation. Bigger first round need, wide receiver or linebacker? I mean, they're both needs. There's no doubt about it. I don't think they operate the way you're intimating there, where we have to get one or the other in a certain round. You want to get the best football player of the positions of need while you draft. And if there's a linebacker sitting there in the first round who's far and away high, better rated, better grade, whatever that they have internally from the personnel group is sitting there. But there's also, say, two wide receivers that are good, but not as good, not as great, not highly as rated, graded, whatever. They absolutely should take the linebacker. It's not a question of pinning rounds to positions. Don't make that mistake. Think we'll see more signature back shoulder throws. They've seemed to disappear this year. Now, that's a trust thing, right? You've seen it a couple times to Devontae. He's attempted a couple to Jimmy Graham that just have looked terrible. But those are the kinds of plays he used to make with Jordy, with Cobb, guys that he had hundreds and hundreds of reps with. Maybe we see that next year as some of these guys start to develop, namely guys like Alan Lazard. But I'd be surprised if you saw a bunch of it in the playoffs, if at all. By the time the Packers play next week, they'll be one of 5 teams who can still win the Super Bowl. Let's fucking go. That's what I'm talking about. What do you think about players getting 2 all-pro slots? Christian McCaffrey running back in the flex. I saw that. It's just it's getting to be Pro Bowl levels of ridiculous now. I mean, they did specifically create the flex position so that another deserving member of, you know, the player pool could be represented, and now they've given it to the same guy twice. Way to go, AP. Brilliant. Uncultured Barbarian, thanks for the super chat. It is going to be great to see the clickbait hit pieces run about the dysfunctional franchises on other fan bases this offseason. I mean, yes. Um, I was going to make a bad joke. I'll make it anyway. We'll find out what Ty Dunn's itinerary is. I kid. I love Ty. Ty's a friend. Just giving him grief. Love you, Ty. TJ Watt made it linebacker and edge as well. Yep, I saw that where Zadarius got, I think, 6 votes at edge and 1 vote at linebacker. Whatever. Do you agree that Ross, the Packers will probably move on from Jones either after this season or next? Jones. Oh, you mean Aaron Jones? Well, I mean, lots to play out yet. I don't think it'll be this offseason in any way, shape, or form. I would be interested to see how they approach negotiations when it's contract time. I don't think they're ever going to pay out big money for a back, but you cannot deny his effect on the offense and how they are dead in the water without him. So we'll see. The majority of this all pro crap is a big fucking popularity contest. We as fans know what we have. This is Bob Dole's NFL. Ha! Well, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. Nagler, I'm going to my first Packers game next week. What should I check out? Eric, make sure you check out Kroll's across the street there. Check out Titletown, all the exhibits and fun stuff there. It's not going to be too cold. It's going to be, I think, hovering around just under 30 degrees, which is that's nothing in Green Bay. Make sure you check out the historic landmarks, the history walk. I can't remember the official name of it, but you can find a guide at Lambeau. It takes you through not only around the stadium but also around downtown. There's a bunch of really cool stuff, important pieces of Packers history around town to check out. Peer inside Corey. Corey's probably out there somewhere. Corey's right back there. I hope everyone has a great weekend. Stay safe, kids. You too, Uncultured. In Vancouver, we are having colder weather than Green Bay. So weird. It's been a weird winter already. Although we're about to bend into the stretch here where it gets stupid cold all the time. Nags, does Martinez getting votes and Z shutout tell you voters look at stats and don't actually watch the games? Obviously, not all the voters do, but some of them. Absolutely. Jake, thanks for the super chat. Raven Green help our tight end coverage problem? Absolutely. Now, the caveat being, does he pick up where he left off prior to his injury? I got to think it's not as easy as just, hit the ground running after months and months off. But he is undoubtedly probably their most effective defender in that regard, or he was those first couple weeks. So I do think the possibility is there that he could greatly improve, even limiting tight ends. I don't think this defense is ever going to completely shut down the tight end threat, but at least not make it such an obvious weakness from week to week. What are Raven Green's strengths and why did he help the defense so much? Mostly the continuity, his communication with the other guys was spot on. He hits his marks pretty well. He's really aggressive. Good with his hands, good and get off blocks, helps in the running game, especially down there in the box, which is where Mike Pettin likes to utilize him. At least did so first part of the season. But he's got range. He's an athletic guy. I will say, in his stead, you've had guys like Ibrahim Campbell, Chandon Sullivan, and I think Sullivan's actually kind of come on lately. But I do think Green will help solidify things even more, especially in the run game. Matt, thanks for the super chat. Aaron, can you articulate to the Rogers deluded cynics that his 16 overthrows is emblematic of his arm strength, not truncating as many people believe? It's a lot of words there, Matt. Not entirely clear on what you're asking me to tell to these cynics, but look, you go back and you watch that game in Detroit, and you do see some overthrows. You do see what Coach was talking about yesterday in his press conference, where he talked about being a hair off because wide receivers are not running their routes to the crispness and precision it is expected in the offense. Um, but there's more than enough evidence there. The damning one is the one we showed on transplants last night, where Tanyan is breaking wide open into the middle of the field, and Rodgers throws it so far behind him that the defensive back makes an easy pass breakup on what should have been a pretty routine conversion on third down. Now, are there things the receivers could be doing better? And to Corey's point, which I thought was the right one, um, as a receiver, you've got one job. Really, you can parse it down to two, maybe 2.5, when you include blocking in the running game, etc. But catching the ball is paramount as a wide receiver, and it is what you can focus on as a wideout, right? The drops are inexcusable. Um, the overthrows, some of them you can look at the mitigating circumstances, whether it's the protection, whether it's uh, the hurried mechanics, whether it's uh, the lack of cohesiveness in offense, whatever you want to say. The wide receivers, the ball hits you generally in your vicinity, you should catch it. You're a professional wide receiver in the NFL. I know there's been a few that have been down here and back hip, etc., and they are insanely frustrating. But you got to catch it. That's your job. Help your quarterback out, especially a quarterback who has struggled a little bit the last couple of weeks with his accuracy. Sometimes you got to help your guys get into a rhythm. You get Rodgers into a rhythm, whole offense will start looking a whole lot different. And I don't think it's going to take much. I don't think we're ever going to get back to run the table levels, but I do think Rodgers can get hot in the playoffs. They just got to get in a rhythm, pick up first downs, get the quarterback in a rhythm, and it doesn't mean he has to throw a bunch of 40-yard passes. Just work the short game. It'll start to flow. Rewatch the 2010 Super Bowl, and man, Rodgers' arm strength and accuracy was ridiculous. You ain't lying. Talking kind of slow. Got an IPA hangover, buddy. I wish. No, I'm just tired. Playoff X Factor, Irvin. Swervin' Irvin, baby. Not only as a returner, but in the offense. There were a number of occasions in that Detroit game where you saw him. Most notably, there was the wheel route up the left sideline where Rodgers just misses him. But I'm telling you, whether it's on the ground, whether it's in the passing game, whether it is as a returner, I think he's going to make some hay, and they're going to have something for him. Specific packages, plays, whatever. That are. It's going to be some stuff we haven't seen yet. And I think he could be a big component to whatever success they have in the postseason. Are you more excited for Z now than what you were for Clay after his rookie season? Yeah, probably. I just think I talked about it this morning on the radio. I just think he's such a complete package, both on and off the field. With Clay, yes, he was a young buck, completely taking the league by storm. We were really excited, um, but he came into an environment where they were kind of building things, and um, he didn't need to kind of lead the charge, so to speak, a culture change, what have you. Whereas Z has come in and not only wrecked things on the field, but he has completely turned things around off the field, not just on the defensive side of the ball, not just in the locker room, but around the entire franchise. There's something pretty damn special about Za'Darius in Green Bay. It's hard to put your finger on it, but um, it's a very rare thing when a team is emblematic of a player that isn't the quarterback. And right now, that is the case with Za'Darius. Jake, thanks for the super chat. Free agents or the draft to replace Blake Martinez? If draft, I want Marcel Spears from Iowa State. We'll start diving into a lot of the draft stuff after the Super Bowl. But to answer your question, yes, I very much agree that it will most likely be via the draft. I'd be very surprised if they went and spent free agency dollars on his replacement. I think they'll prioritize inside linebacker this draft. And I know, that sounds crazy because Green Bay has seemingly always devalued the inside linebacker spot, but I do think that is the best and smartest way for them to replenish that position heading into 2020. You're saying Irvin is our Andre Rison? I don't know about that, but you could have a similar effect in the sense of opening things up on offense. I don't think it's not a perfect corollary, obviously, but if you want to go with it, go ahead. How could we beat the 49ers? Not turning the ball over on the first drive? I'm going to go with that and then hoping things improve from there. Injury update on Bulaga and Lindsley? Nothing yet. We won't get a injury report until next week. I know they weren't practicing, so to speak, but I don't think that means much. Um, I think they were always probably going to get rest coming off of those injuries, but we'll know more on Monday and or Wednesday of next week when we get our first injury report. Sternberger running those fullback routes. Yeah, he was at fullback on Sunday. He actually does a really nice job in some of those running plays too. Um, I just hope they start utilizing him a little bit more in the passing game because he has been open, whether he is at fullback or traditional tight end spot. Um, kid's got some moves and he knows what to do downfield. Guys, regardless of who we play, the Bears still suck. There we go. There's someone who's paying attention. That's good. Paying attention. By the way, I've been paying attention to our Patreon numbers, and holy cow, you guys are amazing. I can't thank you guys enough for supporting what we do. If you haven't jumped on board yet, please consider giving us $5 a month at patreon.com/cheeseheadtv. Like I said, all we ask is $5 a month. It helps everything we do at Cheesehead TV, whether it's video, whether it's social content, etc. We're expanding this off season in a lot of different areas. So anything you can do to chip in is greatly appreciated to bring you guys content 365 throughout the year devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Matt Rogers, thanks for the super chat. Aaron, wouldn't it be plausible that Rogers' accuracy isn't circa 2009, 2017 due to the 42 combined end zone drop TDs the last 2 years and the innumerable other drops making him INT stat protected? Well, but then you can also turn that around and say he's also had a number of interceptions dropped. You know, that's also a fact. Uh, I don't think there's any question that his accuracy is a little off. But I also think he makes 3 or 4 plays a game that only he can make. I talked about that earlier this week on the radio. The throw to Aaron Jones, which is the screen, the off-platform through a tight window in traffic. That is a play not a lot of quarterbacks can make. And if Aaron Rodgers is just here to kind of shepherd the team and make 3 or 4 plays, game-changing plays a game, I'm all for it. I love it. He's still a bad man, as Stephen A. Smith likes to say, but he's just is on the back nine of his career, and even he acknowledges that. I think Rogers defenders would do well to heed that. You see how I can have a civil dialogue with you, even though you pretend to put up super chats and insult my daughter in the last chat. We're still able to have a civil conversation. Rise above it, baby. I'm tired of the media not giving the Pack credit. They will prove them wrong in the playoffs, but I'm going with what Rogers said. I don't care. Well, you're kind of belying yourself there when you say you don't care, but then you just, talked about it and how much you're sick of it, etc. So you kind of care a little bit, right? I mean, that's like Corey always talking about, did you hear what Cowherd said? And I'm always saying, I have no idea what Cowherd said unless people bring it into the chat. Or people like Corey say, did you hear what Cowherd said? Because I truly don't care. Just ignore that stuff. That's why you've got Cheesehead TV. You don't need no national media. You don't need no ESPN. You don't need no Fox Sports. Cheesehead TV is where it's at. And hey, I'm here to tell you, no one's beating them in Lambeau. I can't tell you what's going to happen after they win that game next Sunday night. But all I know is they're going to win that game. They're here first. Since you totally nailed your prediction for Kings season, any predictions for the playoffs? Javier, you're too kind. I'm sure there are plenty of people in this chat who can point out all the stuff I got wrong. There's plenty of it. So I'll just say no. My only prediction is that they're going to win on Sunday, next Sunday night. That's it. Do you think MVS will have a comeback season like Adams did? Because he does get open a lot. Yeah, he does. My one worry with MVS is especially when making the comparison to Davante Adams, is don't forget when Davante had his rookie year, he had those two really promising games, the Patriots game and then the Cowboys playoff game. And MBS has certainly shown flashes from time to time, but he never had performances like those. And his rookie year or this year, he's had two or three big plays. He's made a play here or there, but you would like to see a little bit more consistency from a guy who, yes, struggled with drops and maybe doesn't have the full trust of the quarterback at this point. But it does seem like, and now part of this may be playing time. Part of this might be not being able to get on the field because the coaching staff doesn't trust him. But uh, I do wonder about kind of that corollary because yes, Adams certainly struggled down the stretch his second year, but he had also put some really nice stuff on tape. And while, like I said, MVS has made some nice plays, I haven't seen a consistent high level of play from him like we did Adams early on. So we'll see. I mean, the other thing is like there's no perfect comparison for any of these guys. Every guy has a different path, and every guy develops at a different rate. So maybe he comes back in the offseason, comes into camp, and absolutely kills it next year. I mean, who knows, right? Uh, but I do think you can't wait around for him this season. There's no doubt about that. Uh, I think he will be utilized much like we saw in the Detroit game. From time to time, he'll get a look, but I don't expect him to get a ton of playing time over Lazard and or even Geronimo Allison. Cody, thanks. Nags, love the show, buddy. Thanks. My Super Bowl pick is Green Bay versus Kansas City. How about you? Give me Green Bay, Baltimore. How about that? I still think drafting a wide receiver is a good move. I believe they will. I don't think there's any question. It's one of the deepest wide receiver classes we've seen in years. And I do not doubt for a second that played a little bit into um, Gutekunst not overplaying his hand and sending draft capital willy nilly to go get a wide receiver this year. Alan Lazard is a beast. Zach, you got that right. Do you think Gutekunst drafted Sternberger with the intent of taking over the starting role after Graham leaves? Matthew, kind of. I mean, it's never really as delineated as that, but certainly, and that's something Ted Thompson did a lot of. What you want to do is look at guys where they're drafted, what the position is, and then look at whose contracts are coming up. A lot of times you can kind of draw that line. Now, that's dependent on the player actually developing and showing that he gets it on the NFL level, etc. And it's hard to make that determination with Sternberger because he missed so much time due to the injury. Obviously, they did bring him back. And from what we've seen, what he's put on tape has been pretty damn promising. So I would think, yes, the plan would be let Graham go, give Sternberger the lead tight end position. But there's a whole lot to play out between now and when that decision has to get made. Let's see what we got. Our best bet to win playoff games is to keep low scoring, ugly games. We're used to those. Brandon, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I certainly wouldn't sneeze at the Packers putting up 35 plus points. I mean, if Aaron Rodgers wants to get on fire out of nowhere, like receivers want to keep catching everything and they utilize Aaron Jones the way they should on some of these routes out of the backfield. And, get back to that stuff they were doing against Dallas and KC. I'm all for it. I ain't gonna be mad about it. Preston, thanks for the super chat. When you were with Packers News, did they want you to be as non-biased as possible? You seem to be much more free to voice your opinion with Cheesehead TV. Yes, Preston, I was very much uh, told to be non-biased. And I did my best to do so. I mean, when they hired me, they knew who I was and my background and why I had a platform, etc. But yeah, very much so. It was a journalistic endeavor, so I had to go along with the flow, so to speak. How criminal is it that A Rod didn't make the top 100 and he's a young 36, only 10 full seasons played? Will he play to 40-41? I'd be absolutely shocked if he didn't. And, his deal is what, for 2 more years in Green Bay? I'm going to be very interested to see how that transition ends up happening, whether it is they sign him to another extension and or they draft a quarterback this offseason to groom into the final couple years of Rodgers' contract with the intent of moving on when it's over. That's going to be fun. But uh, yeah, I would be absolutely shocked if Rodgers hung him up before he was 40 years old. Like you said, there's a little bit less tread on the tires because of the fact that he sat those first 3 years. The one kind of question I'll have looking at kind of the back part of his career, especially these upcoming seasons, is we've already seen that he's a different quarterback in the sense that he can't get away from a lot of those defensive ends and linebackers the way he used to be able to on the outside, making things happen, etc. Will he continue to adapt his game to more of a pocket passer these last few seasons? Because I think he can be absolutely deadly if he does. Remember that week 1 game 2 years ago when he came back from the injury against the Bears and he had to play from the pocket and he absolutely shredded them. And that's a really good defense. I think if he can just adapt his game and force himself, and not even force himself, because I think Father Time will do it for him. If he can become, and, like I said, we've already seen hints of it, much more of a pocket passer. I think he could be absolutely deadly. That's what I'm talking about, Nagler. You're more optimistic than Banky gives you credit for. Banky's fine. Z is interested in only one accolade. You got that right. And I like the Packers Collective. We don't give a shit. Bring it. I hear you. You said in your post-game show Aaron Rodgers was turning into Brett Favre. You still agree with that? Well, I mean, that's a blanket wide statement. I can't remember the exact context, but my suspicion is that, um, it's born out of frustration in the sense that, like, Favre, towards the end, um, was going to do it his way, and everyone else be damned. And for the most part, you understood why he was frustrated. With Rodgers, I get frustrated watching him play. He's going to do it his way, whether it's the bringing down of the play clock all the way, whether it is turning down initial reads, looking for something bigger on the outside, etc. That's all frustrating, but he's going to do it his way. And for the most part, he's been successful. It's just frustrating to watch in the moment. Mike Malone, thanks for the super chat. Wish we could have seen Curtis Bolton or Equiminius St. Brown. Well, yeah, EQ is the one that I was really sad that they had to put on IR prior to making the 53-man roster, which meant they couldn't bring him back. But I'm very excited to see him next year. I do think he is a talent. I don't think he's going to be a lead dog or anything, but I do think he could be a really nice complementary piece for this offense. And with that said, guys, I'm going to have to jump because I'm craving something. You know what I'm craving? Delicious deals. And I know you are too. So sign up for Festival Foods emails and you'll have that weekly ad and more delivered to your inbox each week. By signing up with their emails, you'll be the first to know about new products and sale items. And if you're looking for ideas for your next meal, you also get the latest food trends, recipes, and meal planning tips and tricks. What are you waiting for? Subscribe to the Festival Foods emails today at festfoods.com/email. All right, guys, I hope you all enjoy a wild card weekend bereft of Packers football. You can sit back, relax, and know Packers got it all in the bag, baby, because they're playing next week with whoever comes out of this weekend. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a good weekend. Go Pack Go.